We're here to share with you inspiring stories that bring to life all the little and big ways that people bring more love, joy, laughter, and humanness to everyday life. Our focus is the hunt for those little moments that refuel the human soul and reminds us what life is really all about. I invite you to sit back, enjoy the moments, enjoy the stories, the adventures, and the journeys. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of What the World Needs More of. My name is Jairek Robbins. I am your host for this journey. Today we are joined by a very special guest who has an incredible talent. More than one talent, but one that stands out in my mind that hopefully he'll share about with you. His name is Matteo. Charles, thank you, sir, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I'm very excited, and we're going to jump into the question of the show is, what do you believe the world needs more of?
Yeah, definitely. Look, for me, one word comes to mind, and that is inspiration. It's something that I live by each and every day. For me, when you're inspired, you're in spirit, which means at its highest point, you're one with the universe. And, for me, inspiration allows us to create, it allows us to express, and most importantly, fulfill ourselves and others around us. So putting things out into the universe, such as amazing podcasts like this one, dedicated news or social media channels, movies, artworks, books, all forms or mediums. As many of us get our inspiration from different sources. So just an influx, so just a flood of different mediums with the intent to inspire is something I definitely feel that the world needs more of.
Beautiful. And how do you personally bring that to life? Obviously, you're doing this show and sharing who you are and what you do with people, but how else do you bring that to life in the world around you?
Well, how I bring that to life is through my platform, which obviously we'll definitely get into, but it is effectively through art and the live platform of art. So that's how I like to express and try to inspire people. I usually say that I inspire without words and I inspire through painting. So that's how I like to use my platform to bring inspiration to the world.
That's beautiful. And it leads us into our next question, which is, what is your wow factor? What makes you uniquely you, and what are some of the moments that help shape it over the years?
Yeah, definitely. Look, it's always funny because if I'm meeting, people for the first time and they ask sort of, what do you do? And my wow factor kicks in pretty quickly with a small, hint of confusion and disbelief. So effectively, I paint portraits live on stage at events globally in 10 minutes. So that often leads to disbelief, as it's not the common stereotype of an artist, right? Usually an artist spends, maybe 6 months to create a piece in their studio, basically waits for the right collector to appear. Whereas what I've done is I've flipped the business model on its head and I've taken the art to the people and rapidly increased the speed it takes to create a masterpiece live in front of an audience, almost like magic. And I guess a special moment that I think that really helped to shape who I am today was early on in my career. One of my first events, I was able to open for Sir Richard Branson. I was super honored to have been asked, and automatically I wanted to make that particular performance really special. So I guess I decided to challenge myself, and I wanted to paint his portrait upside down. So what that means is the canvas was upside down, and I flipped it at the very end. Thankfully, that risk, it paid off. The piece came out really, really well. I actually painted that piece in about 6 minutes. But I guess the moment that really sort of changed it all, for me anyway, was once I flipped the piece at the very end to reveal the portrait at the end of my performance, the crowd just let off a really, loud, roof-raising roar. And I think it really was that time where I thought I just knew I was living my purpose. So yeah, I think that's one of the real special times for me.
That's amazing. Now, why did you choose to speed it up? Why did you choose, like, were there any moments in life where you looked at everyone else and you're like, wow, that's really slow, and I just want to go fast? Or was there anything special or unique that happened that caused you to want to do it quicker or want to do it in this way?
Yeah, definitely. Look, there is a few factors, and again, we'll get into this in detail. But touching on it, 13 years ago, I was diagnosed with an incurable disease,
Hmm.
and I couldn't be on stage for very long at all. So that was one of the key reasons. And the second reason was, if I'm going to do something within the arts, I need to do something that's different, and I need to really capture people's attention. And I knew that, being an artist, I've done art my entire life, but being an artist, I have to do something that is different. And I thought the attention span of people is not really that long these days, so I have to do something that's going to capture them. And I thought, well, why not try and paint a portrait very, very quickly, add music to it, and really create a performance out of it. And effectively, I locked myself, in the garage for almost 3 months and practiced it. And yeah, just I harnessed it and channeled it and was able to work it out. So it was really cool. But the funny thing is that I actually could never paint portraits, and now that's all I do, and that's what I do for a living. So it's pretty funny where life leads you, right?
It's funny when those transitions happen. How about this?
Absolutely.
What's a moment that made you feel incredibly humble over the years?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I had the opportunity a few years ago to speak and perform at my former high school. So I spoke for about 45 minutes and performed two live paintings. But I guess where it got interesting was, and again, just going back a little bit within my story, as I said, 13 years ago, I was diagnosed with an incurable disease by the name of ulcerative colitis. So what that means was 60 centimeters of my bowel was engulfed with ulcers, which meant I bled internally. Um, there's no cure for this. They don't know how you get it, and it's only managed by medication. I have a saying that I like to live by, and that's art heals. And the reason for that is I haven't been on medication now for over 5 years. I think it might be a little bit longer now. And there is little to no symptoms of my disease today. And I credit that a lot to the purpose and being my art. So bringing it back to the school talk, one of the symptoms of ulcerative colitis is frequent toilet usage. And the thing is, when you have to go, you really can't hold it, and you really, really have to go. So it becomes a real mental battle for a lot of people suffering from this condition. And they effectively need to be near a toilet most of the time, which can be very limiting, pretty much for everyday life. So during my school talk for that hour or so, I didn't stop to use the bathroom, which doesn't seem like a big deal for most people, but for people suffering with ulcerative colitis, it's a massive deal. That day, what I didn't know was there was a 13-year-old student who had just been diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, and the day after the event, I received a phone call from the mother of this particular student, thanking me for putting a smile on her child's face. And she continued to explain when the student came home from school that day, he was glowing with excitement, and explained to her mum, explained to her, sorry, that someone had gone to their school, did a talk to inspire them, and this particular speaker had ulcerative colitis, just like them. And the student went on to continue to explain to his mum that I spoke for and performed without having to go to use the bathroom, which ultimately gave that child hope. And for me, that was a very humbling moment, knowing that at that particular time, at least then, I was able to help one person. So for me, it was just a really humbling moment. And yeah, I think it's really special for me to know that I'm able to do that again through the platform of art.
That's beautiful. That's
Thank you.
very beautiful. It's amazing. I remember there was, it's amazing when we cross paths with people who can show us that whatever things we believe to be our limitations aren't limitations. It's so freeing and it's so opening, and what a unique
Absolutely.
moment to connect. I remember a friend of mine, we were attending a church event actually, and we were sitting there, and the gentleman, Nick, who was born with no arms and no legs, Vujicic, was there. And
Yes, I
and
know you. Yep.
he shared a beautiful similar story where he went through all this struggle through his childhood, wanting to end his life, not wanting to do anything. Fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. He said one of the coolest and most amazing days of his entire life was the day where he got called from parents who had a child born in the same situation as him and asked if he'd be willing to come over and skateboard with him just to let him know that life is going to turn out okay if he wants
Wow.
it to.
Wow.
And he's like, I've done some cool stuff, but that was the coolest day I've ever had. To be able to look at someone younger in my, he made a joke. He said, in my shoes, or lack thereof.
Yes, yes.
and tell him it's going to be okay. He said, I don't think there's a greater gift you can give another human than that feeling it feels to be able to tell them it'll be okay because you've been through it.
Absolutely. And just for them to know that they're not alone, I think is a powerful thing as well. So yeah, it's amazing when as you said, we're able to do this for others, and yeah, it's just a beautiful thing. So yeah.
What a beautiful moment. What about an awe-inspiring moment? Something kind of left your jaw on the ground.
Yeah, look, there's been a lot of a lot of awe-inspiring moments, but look, for me, I think one that really will stay with me for a very long time is I'm a martial arts practitioner. I've been doing it for over 25 years, and I love to train. I don't love to fight. There's two different things. But in 2015, I was actually invited to perform at Bruce Lee's 75th anniversary in Hong Kong.
Wow.
And yeah, it was crazy. And I remember taking a moment to sit back and just sort of live in the now. I sat back at my table and realized that I was sitting literally next to Bruce Lee's wife and across from his daughter, about to paint live the portrait of Bruce Lee in front of the two of them, and in front of 150 VIPs from around the world. And it was just like, wow, and for me, that moment would definitely be a lasting, inspiring time for me. So yeah, that was super cool.
Oh, that's special. What about your greatest fear?
Yeah, look, that's always a great question. I think for me, my greatest fear would have to be not living life to my absolute maximum potential. And Wayne Dyer said it so beautifully. He put it, don't die with your music still in you. And to me, that's so powerful. For years, I was in and out of hospital. I was bedridden with no energy. Literally, death was knocking on my door. And since my purpose was shown to me, I feel like I'm on a mission. I need to inspire people through my story and through my platform. So I try to utilize every minute of every day, whether it be art, business related, personally related. I just try to live my life, to the maximum every day. So the fear of not being and not doing enough will never form itself into reality for me.
Powerful. What are you most excited about in the future?
Yeah, look, I'm really excited. I guess to continue, to disrupt the art world a little bit, push the boundaries, so I've got so much more, things that I want to do, so much more I want to create even further. I want to add so much more wow factors and, talking points about what I do. Something really exciting, which I've literally just launched, and I'd love to share it with you and your listeners here today, is my team and I have just launched something really, really cool, which, soon you'll be able to see me perform in multiple locations at the one time around the world in the form of a hologram. So I'm the first artist in history to do this. I'm super excited about it. The entire venture is just so exciting. So I'd say stay tuned for venues and dates. But yeah, look, there's definitely a lot to be excited about.
Amazing. I love it. Now, we're going to switch gears. Second piece of the show. We call this the nuts and bolts. This is the tactical, tangible, practical, immediately applicable kind of stuff that people can immediately take and apply to their life or business. And the first question here is, where do you focus the majority of your thoughts and time and life each day as of right now?
Yeah, definitely. Look, every day I wake up, I meditate. I take time to meditate, clear my mind, bring peace into the day, not just for me, but for everyone that I come into contact with. So I pretty much then go on to, the creative side of my day. I pretty much paint and create each day. And combined with that, I always try to listen to educational podcasts, eat the right foods, and just really try and be a good person, whether that's helping someone, talking to someone, even being an ear to someone. Um, I try not to have too much structure in my day. I just like to see where the universe will guide me. I like to see the clues and just sort of play it by ear, if that makes sense. But I'm a big advocate on intuition and just allowing the universe to guide me. So meditation really sets up my day, and yeah, I just sort of flow from there.
Beautiful. And what would you say is a key to your success in all that you do?
The key to my success, I say this to a lot of people, which often gives, sometimes some mixed reactions, is, to be honest, what I would have to say my pain. I often say my disease was my university degree to life. So I've been in some very difficult situations health-wise, having, blood transfusions, going through massive times of depression, anxiety, to just constant hospital visits. But there was always lessons from the pain. It made me a stronger person. It taught me patience, taught me how to love myself, accept myself, but most importantly, understand who I am to the core. See, pain for some people drives them into a really dark place, and that they can never get out of. And believe me, I was there. But once I found, or should I say, it was shown to me, my purpose, pain seemed to disappear, and art became the outlet for the pain, which sort of allowed me to tell my story through live art, through the live platform I live today. So yeah, look, definitely pain has been a big driver for me.
Wow, that's powerful. How about this? Last question. What is one actionable tip that can help others achieve and experience the kind of success in their life that you've been able to produce in yours?
Yeah, look, I always say this to a lot of people, and I think this is very important. I think the secret sauce to success is just be you. I mean, so many of us are trying to be someone we're not, thinking we need to be like this person or that person in order for our lives to be successful. It's actually the opposite, in my opinion. I did the same thing. For years, people told me, you can't make money from art. Art's just a hobby. So I would listen, and, I'd stop doing it and be like everyone else. And I guess, and I did odd jobs, which never felt right. But art would always find its way back to me, because it's who I am. It's how I communicate best, express my feelings and emotions. And the minute I started being myself, doing art, taking it seriously is when the universe started to open doors. Really, we say that only dreams are made of, but most importantly, I found my why. I found my purpose, and now I know that being me is the best thing I can do, no matter what, and it would always lead me down the right path. So I would just say, be you, and that's the best thing that's going to lead you to your own personal success.
I love that. And I agree with that 100-fold. Well, sir, thank you so much for joining us. If people want to see you live as a hologram painting, if they want to connect with you, if they want to, find you here online, where can we send them to come and learn more about you and to stay connected?
Yeah, definitely. We've got my website, which is matteocharles.com. I frequently update that. I've also obviously got my Instagram, which is at Matteo Charles, YouTube, which is Matteo Charles. Yeah, my book is available, which is called My Disease, My Teacher. That's on Amazon and Kindle. And yeah, I guess, yeah, that's pretty much all the outlets.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
And for everyone tuning in, if you found this episode inspirational, if you know someone that needs to hear this, we believe that sharing is caring, and we love caring people around here. So make sure to share it with a friend, a colleague, a family member. And we very much look forward to seeing you all next episode.